And we're live. Hello, people of the internet. Welcome to Unleash TV, our weekly show where we talk about the news and mobile that happened over the last week, as covered on unleashthephones.com, the greatest mobile blog ever in the internet. I'm covered, but I'm joined by our usual awesome co-host, Alvin. What's up? How's it going? What's new in Singapore?
Hello. What's new? Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm coming to you live from the house of our daily editor Avi Sharma. I'm actually staying in his sister's room right now to film the show. So
Although you
I
wouldn't know.
apologize. Yeah, you wouldn't know,
Yeah.
but I apologize for the strange thing that's going on with my face today. I don't know. I think it's the light. I don't know. Or the camera. I look like Dr. Evil. Like I just swirl around on my on my chair and laugh. Anyway, okay, so this week nothing much happened. Like literally nothing
Yeah.
much happened. The iPhone 5S, no, iPhone
5C,
5C,
8 GB.
8 GB was launched in India for a cost. It costs more than the LG G2, which
Which
is
is
ridiculous.
amazing. Al-
And
Also, just for the record, even in a very contract-heavy market like Singapore, the iPhone 5C hasn't been a hit at all. If I see an iPhone around, it's most likely an iPhone 5S or an iPhone 5 at this point. And the 5C, I see it maybe about as often as I see a Lumia, which is not at all.
I've
So
seen I've seen a surprising amount of Moto Gs and Moto Xs and now the
yeah,
Moto E.
the funny thing is I've seen quite a few Moto Gs, and the Moto G is not very widely distributed here. So I think that Moto has had a minor miracle over here, even if they still don't have
Officially.
an official division for Singapore.
Apart from that, what else happened? LG showed off the LG G3's QuickCircle case, which is kind of like the quick window case that we reviewed for the LG G2, but now it's circular.
And it's
Um,
it's LG's take on Samsung's S View
Pretty
cover.
much.
Yeah.
But it's circular now for
Yeah.
whatever
So
reason.
here's the funny thing. LG can't make a circular smartwatch, but they can make you a case with
Yeah.
a circular window so that you can see the screen behind it.
I don't get that. I don't get why they're suddenly obsessed with circles now. But hey, I mean, they're
It looks
trying.
good though. It looks cool. It's like
It
a
is
little
very cool.
porthole on the front of your phone.
And I mean, even Atif is a fan of the quick window cover of the G2, so I'm not alone in that. It's a cool cover to have, even though it's a flip cover. It's the only useful flip cover. Even the HTC M8's dot view case is kind of useless. It looks cool to show off to your friends, but then using it is so annoying because it's like
Yeah.
this.
I've grown out of love with the S4 flip cover. Now I'm just back to standard glossy plastic back cover once again because I found that when taking pictures it flops around beneath the phone and it's just annoying and
It's annoying. It's annoying as hell. Yeah,
uh,
yeah. I
and
mean,
and and it gets so gunky in a way because the inside is felt and
yeah,
my
yeah.
hands isn't always like pristine. So after just like a few days, you have these gray marks that start to appear on the inside of the case, and it just gets a bit. So I
That
took
is
it off.
depressing. It's a depressing topic. Well, at least in the quick Windows case, the cutout was exactly the same measurements as the back, so when you flip it over, the camera would not be affected, and you can still use the camera. In most flip covers, though, like the M8's flip cover, you cover the back, and then you can't take a picture.
But
You kind of have to
wouldn't that make the photo quality worse because you have an extra layer of plastic that may not be?
No, but see, it's not. There's no plastic. It's just a cutout. It's a real cutout.
Oh,
Yeah,
ice.
yeah,
Ah.
yeah. It's a complete cutout.
Ah.
So for example, because of the cutout, you're interacting directly with the screen over there.
I see. I get it now.
That's interesting. LG also teased 3 videos for the G3. For
Really?
some reason, they can't keep it in their pants, but the G3 is being announced this coming week, so you'll be able to see more about it.
I'm excited
Uh,
about this phone. Like I said last week, I'm
yeah,
excited about this phone because it it seems like LG has finally gotten it as far as uh as far as design goes and as far as the software goes.
I
From
just
what I've
really
seen
hope
so
this
far,
is.
it looks good.
I just hope this is the last flagship they announce this year. Because LG has a record for announcing a new flagship every 6 months.
Well, that may not be such a bad thing.
Uh,
Uh,
Okay.
Now, here's an interesting bit of news that I'm not sure is particularly true, but
Hmm.
71%, according to this thing, 71% of the global smartwatch market belongs to Samsung. Now, I can see why that may be the case because Samsung has kind of blown out the Galaxy Gear in a huge way, giving it away free with Note 3 purchases and S5 purchases and so on. But uh, but I also have to note that 71% of this smartwatch market is still really small in terms of actual numbers because honestly, the number of people I've seen with a smartwatch over here is perhaps
I'm
well,
sure.
even at tech events, most of the people there don't have smartwatches.
Yeah.
So,
I'm also sure that most people that got the free smartwatch probably don't use it anymore. They probably
or
got
they've
fed up
sold
with
it
charging it.
on
Yeah.
eBay.
Yeah. So, oh well. And that's literally all the exciting stuff that happened this week.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Slow
So
news week doesn't even begin to define
yeah,
it.
super slow news week. I mean, well. Okay.
Microsoft had something big.
Should we talk about the Surface Pro first, or should we just go to open mic first?
Let's talk about the Surface first
Let's
because
talk
it
about Surface Pro.
leads in from the news section.
The Surface Pro is a real thing. Holy crap! I did not see
The
that coming.
Surface 3. The Surface Pro
Surface
3.
Pro 3.
Yeah.
The Surface Pro 3. There's no Surface 3,
There's
by
no. So, this has been like the biggest bit of news in the Microsoft world this week, the
Yeah.
launch of the Surface Pro 3. And it's interesting for a couple of reasons. Firstly, we were all expecting a smaller Surface to come out, not a bigger one. There has been rumors for quite a while now of an 8-inch Surface, but that we were expecting to see at this event, but instead we got a 12-inch Surface Pro 3. And in addition, Windows RT is not in the conversation anymore, it seems, because this is the third generation of Surface tablets, and unlike the previous two generations, there hasn't been an accompanying Windows RT equivalent of this Surface. And I think that when I saw the Surface Pro 3, my first thought was that it's more of the same, and
Yep.
and honestly, the Surface Pro 2 isn't that old. It just came out a while ago. Shops over here have just started receiving Surface Pro 2. And now there's the Surface Pro 3. Now, what the Surface Pro 3 has is a bunch of things. In fact, I think I would say that this is more of a laptop than a tablet at this point. It's got a 12.1-inch screen, which has a very high resolution about this on the same level as Retina's MacBook Pros. It's got a kickstand that now doesn't have specific stops, so it just extends all the way in one smooth motion. There are pros and cons to that. It has Intel Core i3, i5, and i7 processors. So there are 3 tiers that you can choose from, and a couple of storage tiers as well, ranging from 128 gigabytes to 512 gigabytes, I think. So, basically, flagship Surface device. It is pretty expensive. It will cost you more than $1,000 to get a Surface Pro 3 plus the Type keyboard that you will want to get with this tablet. So in that way,
that's the most annoying thing. You don't get this with a free keyboard. You have to buy the keyboard separately.
yeah. So the price that they advertise as the price of the Surface Pro 3 isn't really the price that you're going to pay because you are going to have to buy the Type cover to go with it. And in addition to that, when you add the Type cover to the equation, you are looking at something that is more expensive than the base MacBook Air.
Yeah, I would still, as somebody who owns and uses the Surface Pro original, I would buy the MacBook Air because, to be very honest, the Surface Pro is just not meant to be used as a laptop. It's a device that is a solution to no problem. There is no, like, for instance, trying to type on it while you're on the go. If you're sitting in the back of a car and you're trying to type in it, or you're just trying to type on it when you don't have a Surface to put it on. A Surface meaning a table to put it on. It's annoying. It's a really annoying form factor that I just did not like. And I really, really, really tried to give it a go. Alvin knows I
Yeah.
really tried to give the
I still
Surface Pro a
remember
go.
when we were in Singapore and you brought the Surface Pro 2 and I was trying to use the Surface Pro 2 in on the bed with the bedspread covering my legs. So when we did that, the Surface Pro kept flopping over in a very annoying way. And I think part of it is that the type cover is not hard. That's what she said. The type cover is not hard. It's kind of fabric-like and it's kind of floppy.
Yeah.
So in that way, it's not a stable base for you to type on. If you are using it on your lap and you are trying to type, the corners of the type cover are going to press down a bit because it's kind of soft and fluffy in that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so that was what I thought when I saw the Surface Pro 3. When I saw it, I just felt that, oh, it's more of the same because the same concerns that we had about the Surface Pro form factor and the entire Surface concept is still issues that plague the Surface Pro 3.
Mhm.
It's not like we can now use the Surface Pro 3 as an actual laptop in more challenging conditions when you don't really have a coffee table to set it on,
Yeah.
because the form factor is still about the same. Even if they have a kickstand that doesn't have two stops or one stop now and it just extends all the way, um, there are also a bit of there are pros in that you can make the Surface Pro 3 uh, rest at a very uh, wide angle,
Mhm.
but there are also cons in that kickstand apparently is a bit more difficult to pull out
Oh,
than
great.
than the current one because in the current one it's spring loaded, so there's this action that just snaps the kickstand into the position that it's supposed to be in. But for this new one, it's based on friction. So because it needs to maintain that level of friction to keep the kickstand in its position that you have extended it to, so you only have that one notch on the side to pull it out, and that can be quite that isn't that isn't so such a smooth action to do
Mhm.
apparently.
I just struggle to use the Surface. I mean, on one hand, I get where Microsoft is saying. Microsoft is saying, hey, this is a computer and and a tablet at the same time. That's well and good. Except that when you have to use it as a computer, you would need a proper table or something to keep it to rest it on because you can't
Exactly.
use it on the go at all. You can't even use it. Now, this is the funniest thing. You can't even use it in a plane because there's just not enough space in planes nowadays
Yeah.
unless you're sitting in business class. And if by chance the guy in front of you reclines, hey, guess what? That surface. Suppose this is a kickstand. Okay, it's resting on a kickstand. That person will recline, and your surface will move forward, and then it's supported by the seat, and eventually it'll just flop over. That happened to me while I had a cup of coffee next to me, and I luckily the cup of coffee was empty because otherwise it would spill everywhere when that happened. Um, and I felt so stupid. Like I was just like, oh my god, why am I using this
So here's the
computer?
thing. Microsoft's pitch with the Surface 3 continues to be that it is the one device for everything that you
Mm,
need. And the thing is, when you talk about it that way and you really examine the ways that tablets and laptops are used, it it doesn't really function well still as either of those two because the MacBook Air. Okay, let's talk about the laptop first. This Surface Pro 3, I would say Microsoft thinks it's more of a laptop than a tablet because of the screen size and because of the specifications that are contained within it. Now, on any laptop, you can use it on your lap. I know that you can. That Microsoft says that you can use the Surface Pro 3 on your lap, but it clearly is not an ideal situation. The person the team who designed the Surface Pro 3 envisioned everybody having a nice table at Starbucks to
yeah,
put the Surface Pro 3 on and the keyboard and the kickstand and they would get things done there. Now, for us,
in the
when
real
we go
world,
to events, there usually aren't tables. So we kind of stand around or we find a chair to sit on and we start typing. On a laptop, that's simple. On a Surface, it takes three steps. One, you need to if you haven't attached the type cover, you need to attach it. You need to open the kickstand. You need to power it on, and then you need to find a way to put the Surface Pro on your lap so that it does not fall over.
yeah.
And as a laptop, it continues to not be a very great laptop as well, because the port selection is very limited, and there's no way that a laptop user can survive with just one USB port. What are you supposed to do? Sure, you can carry a USB hub. I'm sure there are not even, if you need Ethernet, you can get a box
So
that attaches by USB that gives you Ethernet and just gives you USB and all that.
so
But
if you see my Surface Pro at home, it's literally like it has like a million things attached to it to make it into a computer. Like I have
yeah,
a monitor attached to it. I have the USB hub attached to it. I have the keyboard case attached to it. I have a lot of things attached to it.
and so most laptops work well because they are integrated packages. You don't have to put stuff on it to make it work. You don't have to carry around cables and dongles and stuff and have to plug it in order to just, for example, uh, be able to use a mouse and something else at the same time.
You know, I found it, not to interrupt you, but I just found it very, very interesting that Microsoft kept showing how thin, how slim it is compared to the MacBook Air. They kept talking about that. They kept saying, look how slim the Surface 3 is compared to the MacBook Air. And I'm like, okay, I get what they're doing. But the MacBook Air has a full keyboard. Why don't you
Yeah.
attach that touch cover and then check again?
And you need to carry around all these little bits with the Surface Pro 3.
Hmm.
I don't think that you would need to do the same with the MacBook Air. As limited as Apple's port selections are, you still have an SD card slot on the side of the 13-inch MacBook Air, and you also have two USB 3 ports. Two. What a luxury! We have two, and we also have, and if anything, you will be able to type just fine on the 13-inch MacBook Air, even if the screen is perhaps isn't as high resolution as the Surface Pro. You are sitting
But you have great battery
far
life.
away. Yeah,
Yeah.
you are sitting far away enough from it that you are unlikely to really notice that your screen is really pixelated. And the thing is, in daily use, it really doesn't matter. The same argument about laptop screen resolutions is the same thing that we have said about phones.
Mhm.
In day-to-day use, it doesn't really matter between a 720p screen and a 1080p screen on your phone. On a laptop, it matters even less because it's not like you're going to go right up close to the screen and say, "Oh no, I can see the pixels on it." So, so in that way, the Surface Pro 3 doesn't make a very good laptop because you need to carry all these extra bits along with it, and it doesn't even have battery life that can match the best that you can get today. And this is Microsoft's best idea of what a laptop can be.
Let's also talk about the most important part. The MacBook Air is cheaper than the Surface with the touch cover. If you were to buy a Surface and a touch cover, it would come up to maybe $1,200,
Yeah.
$1,300.
And
The MacBook Air starts at like 800 maybe.
And I
So
was just looking at the MacBook Airs in a store earlier this week, and I just realized what great value the MacBook Air is. You really do get a lot for the money, and I just can't think of a Surface configuration that would allow that same level of value. Even if you were to get the Surface Pro 2 right now, it's still going to cost more than a MacBook Air, and you're going to have a smaller screen with tiny, tiny text in the desktop.
yeah.
And so it just isn't a very good proposition. And as a tablet, the Surface Pro 3 is big. This is a 12-inch screen. And when you have a 12-inch screen tablet, you're talking about the Samsung Note Pro 12.2 being a direct competitor to this thing. And can we all take a moment to remember how big that thing is? The Surface Pro 3 will be that big. And so, as a tablet, you have Windows 8. I'm not saying that Windows 8 is a particularly bad operating system for a tablet, but it still has the legacy stuff all built into it, and you still don't get a very wide app selection. We don't even get Spotify. This is 2014. There's no Spotify for Windows 8.
You can
So
obviously install the legacy app and oh no, you can't. Can
You-
you? Yeah, you can.
you can, but then you have to go to the desktop and use that little app with the tiny text. Or you could go to the web player and use Spotify that way, just like any Chromebook user would do.
Oh my God. So so Microsoft's big pitch with this is that you want a touchscreen, but I really don't think, as somebody again, as somebody who's used the Surface Pro, I've never tried to touch the screen for any other feature, for anything other than to scroll down, because I have a tablet for that. I have a phone for that. I don't want.
And
There's
here's the
no
thing.
advantage. Unless you're somebody that sketches on your computer, there's really no. I just don't get it, and I really hope Apple doesn't make a new MacBook Air with a touchscreen.
I don't think they're going to. With
I really hope they don't.
yeah. Well, look. Even if you are looking at hybrid devices, there are better hybrid devices than this Surface Pro 3. For example, the Lenovo Yoga 2 Pro has the same resolution of screen and it's an actual laptop most of the time. When you want to use it in tablet mode or when you want to watch a video, you can always rotate it around to make it a tablet. If you want to use it in bed, you can rotate it around to make it a tablet. But most of the time, it's a perfectly serviceable laptop with a great screen and good battery life and enough ports for you to use. And it's not like that is such a bad piece of hardware that we all need Microsoft to come in and save us with this Surface Pro 3. It's perfectly fine. I've seen it. I've touched it. It feels premium, honestly speaking, and it's not so expensive either. Honestly, it comes in about the same price range as the Surface Pro 3, and Lenovo has all these discounts that they run every now and then. So I would say that even if you want this sort of device, there are better out there than the Surface Pro 3. And so if Microsoft wants to continue with this form factor, then they have to either one, find a way to make it work, or just straight up make a Surface laptop, because I don't think that is so difficult for them to do.
So that's our Surface Pro 3 talk. That's basically what we think of it. I really was amazed when I heard that there was a Surface Pro 3. I was like, what? Really? Really? But apparently, now this is also a funny sign of how Microsoft thinks that a 10-inch Surface was too small, and now the Surface 3 is 12-inch. So the Surface Pro might be like what, 13 inches? Who knows?
No, this is the Surface Pro 3.
Yeah.
So the names. Oh my god.
And why did they not clarify why there isn't a Surface 3? Like they should have just said, hey, there's no Surface 3 because we don't like Windows RT, or we are not going to announce the Surface 3, or just clarify something about that, or just name the Surface Pro 3 the Surface 3, for God's sake.
Yeah, and so I mean, this is the most powerful Surface that you can get, but power isn't everything. And what plagued the Surface to begin with isn't the amount of power that it had. The Surface Pro 2 is quite powerful in its own right. So so it just seems like Microsoft has taken a very good view to designing this thing, because they think that this is the best that a tablet laptop hybrid should be. But the thing is, it isn't, because not everyone works at a place that has a table on it. And as long as they do not solve that problem, the Surface Pro 3 isn't going to be something that people may consider. And with the sort of prices that they are at, people just don't pay that much for a PC.
I saw a very interesting tweet. I saw a very interesting tweet the other day. I forgot who it is by. I'm really sorry for that. But somebody said a lot of people in the audience during the Surface 3 announcement were using MacBook Airs. And next year when the Surface Pro 4 is announced, they'll still be using MacBook Airs. And I'm like, yeah, that's not going to change at all, because it's you know what? If Microsoft made a Surface kind of like the Lenovo computer that Alvin was talking about, that might sell okay. That might sell pretty okay.
That may actually sell more units than this Surface 3.
Yeah. Oh well. So that's our talk
Meanwhile,
about.
Nokia continues to try to sell some Lumia 2520 tablets.
Oh yeah. Well, what's funny though is that the 2520 still looks better than the Surface 2 and the Surface original.
So there you go.
And it's really slim. It's a really slim computer. So no one. I don't know. I'm excited to see what the Lumia 2620 will.
There isn't going to be one.
I mean, maybe now Lumia will be Windows RT tablets and Surface will be Windows 8 tablets.
Why do we even bother Windows RT? Just it needs to It needs to
Hey, there are
die.
some people who are happy using it.
It
I'm
needs
sure
to die.
from Unleash the Phones
If,
uses
look,
it, and he's
look,
happy
here's
with
the thing. Even Chrome OS doesn't work very well on ARM. I would
it.
never get an ARM chip-powered Chrome OS Chromebook because the Intel ones are just better. And so I think the
Oh.
same can be said about Windows RT. Yeah.
Uh,
So to
so,
change gears a bit, I've been using the Sony Smart Band for about 3 weeks now, and
awesome.
it's been dutifully logging all my vitals. And it is in agreement with me that I'm still very much alive. So so the Smart Band, I'm definitely going to write a review about it, which will come out shortly after the Z2, which will be useful to you because if you buy a Z2, you'll get a smart band for free.
Yep.
So the smart band is a fitness tracking wearable, much like the Jawbone Up, the Jawbone Up 24, the entire range of Fitbits, uh, whatever Nike has, whatever Adidas has, whatever Garmin has, and so it
Wow, there's a lot of
enters
bands out there.
yeah, whatever Samsung has, that piece of garbage. So basically, it's in a very crowded market. But there are a few things that are really cool about the smart band. I can't really talk about its accuracy. It seems accurate to me, but I also haven't tested many of these things, and my activity tends to vary a lot. So I can't really speak about its accuracy. But for me, my gut feel is that it generally gets it right. What I like about it is that it does sleep tracking as well, so that has been very useful. And I also like that it is cross-platform if you use an Android phone. But it works with any Android phone that has 4.4 and above. Why does it need 4.4? Because it works with Bluetooth Low Energy. So that only came along in 4.4. Um, that's the setup process, I would say, is a bit. It needs a bit of improvement because
Of
in order
course.
to set this thing up, you need to install 3 apps on your phone. You need to install the Smart Connect app. You need to install the Smart Band app, the app for the Smart Band that plugs into the Smart Connect app, so you don't ever see the icon on the home screen.
Okay.
And you also need to install the Live Log application. And the Live Log application is a bit weird because I I've got an I still got the Xperia Z2 for review, and when I tried to use my Smart Band with the Z2, I realized that in order to set up the Live Log app on a Sony phone, you have to sign in with a Sony account. I don't have a Sony account, and I didn't get a Sony account because on every other phone, you just need to sign in with your Google account into the LiveLog app, which is easy, and it just takes one click. And so I don't understand why Sony has to make every Xperia user sign up for a Sony account to use the LiveLog app, when on every other phone running Android 4.4, you don't need a Sony account. It works with your Google account.
Is the Sony account the same thing as a PlayStation account?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's slightly easier than for people who have
So
a PlayStation.
so in that way, I didn't know whether my data would carry over from my Google account LiveLog app to the Sony account LiveLog app. So
Uh,
so I just didn't bother trying to use the Smart Band with my Z2 at all because I didn't know what I would get, and I don't want my data to be all over the place. I just
yeah.
want it to be in my Google account, tied to my Google account.
So,
That's the best.
so with the LiveLog app on non-Sony phones, it doesn't ask you to sign, just Sony account.
Yeah, it just
Huh.
asks you to sign with your Google account, and it looks exactly the same as the app on the Sony phone. So that was what
So
made me
weird.
confused to begin with.
Okay.
But the LiveLog app does a lot of things. It basically tries to put your activity into a series of colored tiles. So basically, not all of them are tied to the smart band. Only a few of them, such as the calorie tracker, I don't know how it calculates calories. It just gives me a number. Um, there's a calorie tracker. There's a step counter. There's a sleep tracker, and so those are the 3 things that are controlled by the smart band. As part of the step tracker, you also get stats for how much you walk and how much you run. So that's part of what the smart band gives you as well. But the rest of the LiveLog app are things like how much have you used communications apps? How much have you taken pictures? How much have you used the web? So I don't know.
It
Uh,
really is a log of your life.
yeah, so as far as using your smartphone is concerned, it is a lot of your life with your smartphone, and so you get these little circles above in the timeline view for all your various activities up there. You see, it's floating above this guy like a
Yeah.
cloud of all these activities. So when you tap on one of them, you can view more data about them. So like for example, if I tap on one of the communication tiles, I get Instagram showing up there. There's a low battery warning. So I get Instagram showing up there, and I can see how long I've been using that app.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not sure that all of the data here is useful to me, but this is the app that you're going to use with the smart band because currently the smart band doesn't really support any other applications. So this is the one. Um, it also has a feature called live bookmarks. So I've had some live bookmarks here. All of these were done by mistake because I was pressing the button on the smart band wondering what to do. And so when you double tap the button, it saves a new live bookmark. I don't know
What do
why
you
I
do?
will use this feature. It's just there. Um, and so the only thing about the smart band that you can press is this one control button over there. And so when you press it once, it shows you the status. So currently it's in day mode, right? So you get 3 flashing lights, one after the other. You press and hold, it switches into night mode. So you get a vibrate and a different light pattern.
Hmm.
If you uh if you double tap it, you save a new light bookmark. So you get a new light pattern. Now, if you tap it, if you press that button and you tap the top, then you go into the media player control mode. So what happens with that is that you can actually control your music or your podcast listening by tapping on the top of the smart band. So if you
Okay.
tap once, it will play. If you tap again, it will pause. If you double tap, it goes to the next song. If you triple tap, it goes to the previous song. I haven't really gotten much use out of that. It sounds useful, but I always forget that it's there. I forget
Yeah.
that I can do it.
Yeah.
So I just end up taking out my phone
Yeah.
to control it. Anyway, what else can I say? It lasts for 5 days on the battery.
That's not
Uh,
bad.
yeah, reliably, and
It's
it
waterproof?
yeah, it's definitely waterproof, even though the micro USB port is exposed.
Hmm.
And so you'll be popping this thing out every time you want to charge it. It charges quite quickly, so that's not a problem. You can just put it in for about half an hour, it's fully charged again.
Hmm.
Um, and I would say that it is a very high quality product. In fact, you don't really need a Sony phone to use this. And I would say go for it even if you don't have a Sony phone. Because
So, would you say if somebody's considering a Fitbit or a Jawbone product or like any other fitness tracker and the Sony smartband, would you
I would
say?
definitely recommend it over the Jawbone because this is cheaper and
Mm.
it does pretty much the same things, and to me it looks better. The Jawbone art is very thick all around, but for this one, as you can see, the band up here is thin, so it doesn't
Yeah,
get in the way when you are using a computer or when you are doing something that involves your wrist.
and you can change the bands whenever you want.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's a cool thing as well. I would say that another thing about the smart band is that it gives you a few smartwatch-like features. So you can set it to automatically switch between day mode and night mode, which is handy because I don't remember to switch it to night mode. I'm a very forgetful person, so
Mm.
I just have it switch into night mode at a time when I'm likely to go to bed, which is about 2 a.m. So
Yeah.
I put so it I know it's late, but
2 a.m.
um,
Alright. I'm in bed by 11 or 10 now.
so so then it automatically switches to night mode, and at about 9 or so, which is when I usually wake up, it switches back into day mode. I find that works for me rather than having to switch it manually. It
Mhm.
also can buzz your wrist whenever you have a new notification, and by default it blissfully only comes with Gmail enabled by default.
Okay.
So you don't have to go in and deselect all the all the applications so that you don't get vibrations every 10 seconds. You can just, for example, I've just enabled Gmail, Hangouts, WhatsApp, and Instagram, and those are the 4 apps.
Oh, WhatsApp. Holy crap, it must be vibrating like crazy.
I use the version that's on the website, so that version allows you to mute people for a century, which is where some people need to be. The Smart Band allows for some smartwatch-like features, and it actually has made me want to have an actual smartwatch, because now I had a taster of what a smartwatch can do, and now I wish it had a screen so I can see what the actual notification is.
I feel because the module is pretty big. It's kind of big. It's not huge, but it's kind of big. I'm wondering if Sony's next smartwatch will allow you to incorporate the module into it somehow. And if they do that, how will the smartwatch look?
Yeah,
Might be huge.
honestly, I wouldn't mind a smartwatch that is this exact form factor because I know that people deride the Gear Fit for its long screen and whatever, and the Smart Band is actually very similar to that. But if you were to imagine that the Smart Band has a screen over here on the bottom edge, right? You could just view it by holding your hand like that. So the band is here and the screen is here. So in that way, that would work for me. And it doesn't have to be a super advanced display. It can be a one-line display that just scrolls your notification anytime you have one. That would work just fine as well. So to be honest, having this Smart Band has made me feel like getting a smartwatch too, because because that seems to be the logical next step for a Smart Band owner who wants to get more from the notifications features, and having it buzz my wrist has also allowed me to leave the Samsung on completely silent, and that works as well because I always get phantom vibrations. I think it has vibrated when it ends, when it actually has not. That's what she said. So so with that, I can definitely feel the vibration on my wrist. It's quite strong actually, and so I can be very sure of when I get a notification rather than relying on the built-in vibration motor in the S4, which isn't great. So it also has features such as being able to alert you when you've left your phone behind. I've actually disabled that because one, my phone is always with me. If it's not with me, I'm kind of in trouble. And also, it tends to get disconnected when I'm walking around the house and I leave my phone on the table. So in terms of range, that's okay. My kitchen and washroom is kind of at the back of my house. So when I walk from my room to there and my phone is in my room, the Smart Band gets disconnected, right? Because it's too far, it's out of range. So because of that, it thinks that I've left my phone behind when it's actually in my house. So I turn it off because I get like alarming vibrations from the Smart Band when it thinks I've left my phone behind. And then I walk back into range a few moments later, and it just quietly reconnects again. In terms of connection quality, I haven't had any problems with that. It's very stable. Unless you're using cyanogen mode on the Samsung Galaxy S4, then it's a bit more unstable than that. So yeah, I would say it's a very competent Smart Band, fitness band. And in terms of whether I would get one, I think that it's a very nice companion, even if you didn't get it for free with your C2 purchase. So in that way,
I'm really hoping Sony gets me to try out one, because they've kind of been slacking off in India lately. But I hope they get me to try out one.
So in that way, this definitely gets a recommendation.
All right. So I'm gonna have to say that that's our episode now, because my Chromebook's just about to run out of battery. Oh my god!
Wow.
So I haven't charged my Chromebook in like a week, and and I decided to use it today for the show. And then I realized, holy crap, I haven't charged my Chromebook in a week, and it only has about 1 hour of battery life in it, which is good because we want our show to be below 1 hour anyway. But yeah, okay. So just so you guys know, coming up this week on Unleash the Phones, tomorrow is our Z2 review that will go up no matter what happens. The Z2 review is going up. The Lumia 630 review should hopefully be up by Wednesday, and the Moto E review should hopefully be up by Friday. So if you guys have any questions about those phones, you should let us know before then. Alvin will be talking about the Smart Band sometime. Avi hopefully will review the LG phone he's reviewing. I forgot the name of the LG phone he's reviewing, but there's an LG phone.
Because it probably wasn't meant to be remembered anyway.
The LG G3 will be announced this week, so that's big news. I can't wait to see what happens there. And what's funny is that we're getting the LG G Pro 2 to review after the G3 is announced. So maybe that's what happens.
So, just a teaser for next week's episode. I've modded my Samsung Galaxy S4 more than I've modded my N9 by this point. So I'll be talking about everything that I've done next week on UnleashTV. So you want to watch that?
I think you should just make that into a post to make things easier for you as well. Like how to take the TouchWiz out of the Galaxy S4.
Completely. It also includes hardware modifications, so that's exciting.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, we do appreciate you watching the show. I do like feedback. I like the feedback we got last week as well. We're still working on the audio-only version. Unfortunately, I've been traveling like crazy, and these guys depend on me to be the main guy to sort that crap out. So I'm going to be getting back home the coming Friday. So by next episode, we should hopefully have an audio version ready to go. All right, so that's about it. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions or you want to follow Al, the links to follow us on Twitter are up below. Feel free to spam Al with all of your Galaxy-related questions or Smart-related questions. All right, thanks for joining me, Al. I'll see you next week. Take care.
All right, bye.